So on today's episode we're going to be painting this Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures Bone Naga. There are many different ways for you to paint bone, this is just one of them. The model is already coated in a Zandri dust primer by CITADEL, and the paints we will be using today are Zandri dust by CITADEL, Screaming Skull. This is just going to be used as a dry brush highlight, so as soon as we're done here we can get cracking with that. Ushabti Bone, which will be the final highlight for the model, done again as a dry brush. Agrax Earthshade, our all over wash, we'll be using this on the bone and the base. The base itself, we're going to go for a rocky cave type base. We're going to start with Mechanicus Standard Grey. Then we're going to highlight that with Dawnstone. And then finally with Administratum Grey. And just to break up the whole model, we're going to add a little bit of extra detail into the eye sockets and anywhere else we think might be necessary, maybe under the jaw. Is going to be Nihilakh Oxide, which again is a CITADEL but a technical paint. This is what you use to make like verdigris on bronze and stuff like that, but I find it really makes a nice kind of glow effect for undead miniatures. And then we're going to highlight that up by mixing in some returning champion to the channel, Vallejo game, Air Dead White. So now we're all done with that, let's get rolling. So to start off with, we're going to use our Screaming Skull and our Army Painter dry brush. And I'm going to get our kitchen towel and our palette. I'm just going to add a little bit to the brush. Get this bit on there. That works into all the bristles. And then, as we've done before with dry brushing, we just want to rub most of it off. And then we just want to apply it to the miniature. And as you'll see, it just sits on all the highest recesses. And we want to do this all over. Okay, so once that's all done, we want to move to our Ushabti Bone, and we're going to apply this very much so the same way. We're just going to do a little bit lighter, so we're going to put a little bit less paint onto the brush, and it's going to make all these ridges and raised areas pop, ready for when we apply our Agrax Earthshade wash. So why we're doing it this way is we're going to add the wash, and then we're going to go back in again with these highlight colors. I'm just going to make it really pop, but we're taking it up to 11 to take it back down to 10 is one of the best ways I've been told. Now, normally we don't do this, like just grabbing the mini, but this guy does spring about quite a lot, so just a gentle grip, and we just want to just get that face. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the base, because we're going to go in and cover the whole model with an Agrax Earthshade wash, so we might as well get the base done and then we can do it all at the same time. So we'll get our Mechanicus Standard Grey, and our standard base brush. I just want to water it down just a little bit, just so it goes on nice and smooth. And we're just going to apply that all over the base. And don't worry too much if you get in between, getting in between the little spines. If you do happen to get any on the bone, just go back over with Zandri dust and highlight up again with your Ushabti bone and Screaming Skull. Okay, now the base is all done, we can go ahead and apply our Agrax Earthshade, and we're just going to apply that all over the entire mini and then let that dry and try to avoid any pooling if and where possible. And this is going to make the whole mini really pop, so you just want to get that brush all loaded up. I'm just going to slap it all over. So again, we're not being very neat, just getting it on there. And then you want to give that about 20 to 30 minutes to dry in total, and then we'll be back. Alright, now we're back after that's all nice and dried. You can see the details come out. Been dragged out because of the wash. If that will focus, there we go, that's a lot better. Now, if you particularly fancy it, you could leave it as is. You've got a nice bone color going on there. What we're going to do though is we are going to just give it a quick dry brush with one of the lighter bone colors just to bring out some of that detail. We're just going to aim for around the face area and the top here, and maybe down a little bit there, and then we'll work on the rest of the base, and yeah, then we'll get to the glowy eye effects. So let's get cracking. So we're going to use our Ushabti bone. Let's give that a quick shake. And we're now going to use our small Army Painter dry brush. And you don't necessarily have to get these dry brushes themselves. You can just use thick old brushes that you don't mind wrecking a little bit. But I have these. I quite enjoy using them. They're quite handy to have. As I said, we're just going to do a little dusting over the top. Nothing too in depth. I'm just trying to bring out that bone color a little bit. We'll go for the some of the underbelly bit here as well. Okay, there you go. Nice, quick, easy. And now we'll move on to the stone. Okay, right. So we're going to need our Dawnstone. Got our small dry brush again, and we're just going to get some of those raised edges with a dry brush on there. And we want a very small dry brush like the one we just used, and just try and catch the edges. It's just to make the base pop a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to use our Administratum grey, and that's just going to finish off the stone, and then we can get on to doing the Nihilakh Oxide eyes. So this, make sure you can actually see that. And all we're trying to do is just get those raised edges. Okay, and there we go. So you could leave it like that. Yeah, I'm happy with that as is, but I wanted to take it a little bit further. I want to give it that glow effect, that kind of necromantic look to it. So now we're going to use our Nihilakh Oxide technical paint, and we're just going to get that into those little eye sockets just at the top there. Maybe even put them into the nose there. We're just trying to add some glow to it to give it that kind of magical look. So we'll get our smaller brush, a bit of this on our palette, and this stuff goes quite a long way, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of water to this. Okay, so it's nice and thinned. We don't want to overload our brush, and then get it to focus. There we go. Let's see if we can get that in there for you guys. Okay. You know what, I'm not going to bother with the nose. Might seem a little silly. And because this is so thin, you can paint around the rim of the eye. And this is a process that takes a little bit of time. You just have to build it up. Once it's done, it looks pretty cool. Okay. Now we've got our Vallejo game Air White. I'm going to add a tiny bit of that to the palette. We don't need much. And now we're just going to go back and forth mixing the Nihilakh Oxide in with the white. So you still want to keep it as wet as possible. I'm just trying to drop this in there. Make sure we focus. And there you go. Okay guys, there is our Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures Bone Naga, all finished, painted and ready for your tabletop. If you have any more questions, comments or feedback, please leave them in the comment section below. If you could like and share this video, that would go a million miles into helping me out with this channel. And if you'd like to see any more of my videos, please subscribe. Until next time guys, roll out.